University.
Right.
You went to Northwestern.
Yes.
Northwestern. Okay. Well, Shelley, we're sitting here getting reacquainted because I haven't seen you for a year or more, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the last time we talked was for Cheers.
Hmm.
And anyway, we're here now in Los Angeles talking about The Money Pit, your new picture with Tom Hanks and Alexander Goodenough. And let me say, first of all, that it's just a hoot.
Thank you.
It's lots of laughs.
Thank you.
And awesome, awesome special effects.
Yes.
But I know also now that you went into this picture right after the birth of your daughter, Juliana.
Right.
And how many weeks was it after the birth of the baby that you started the film?
Well, we started rehearsal 2.5 weeks after she was born, and we rehearsed for 2 weeks. So she was a little over a month old when we started filming.
Every woman who sees this movie is going to say, can't be a month and she's looking like that and doing all that stuff.
Well, I was told by a couple of physicians whose opinions I respect that I could do it, and that it wasn't asking too much of myself or of my child. And I mean, I studied this situation carefully before I got myself into it. And they said, actually, it'd be great for you, and the baby can travel anytime after she's born. And so I said, well, great, because I'm a strong believer that if mothers feel good about themselves and what they're doing, that they transfer that to children. And this is what I like. This is what makes me feel good about my life and myself. And so we're doing it, and my daughter seems to be very happy. She's a really, thank you God, a well-adjusted child. And I mean, that's her doing. That I don't really take much credit for that. You know, she's made that choice internally to be happy, and I'm glad she has. So it seems to be working out well. Dad loves being a dad, you know, and so we're hanging in there.
Terrific. Did you at any time, with all these special effects, and people will have to see the movie to understand what I'm saying when they are awesome, and they're real effects, they're not lasers, they're not animation, they're live effects.
Right.
As an actress, did you ever at any time feel overwhelmed by the effects?
Schedule-wise, a little bit, because now Tom is the one that really has to cope with the effects more than I. Tom became an effect. I think, you know, the poor guy was covered with plaster for like weeks, literally weeks. He'd have to go in and they'd dunk him in the plaster, and I felt so sorry for him. So I think Tom would say yes. Tom, who's in Israel making another picture and can't be here, so I'll say for Tom, yes, I think he got overwhelmed, and it bogged down the schedule because it's so tedious to deal with those things. And Richard, I think, had some frustration with it, but it pays off, you know. I mean, it's great fun, and it's an important part of things breaking down in the middle of these lives that we're looking at in this picture. And yeah, you have to take a few deep breaths and say, here we go again. But the relationship, which is, of course, my favorite part of the picture, we did more toward the end, the dialogue scenes, and those were great fun and really add something very special to the story, I think. So I feel good about that. So it was worth it.
A week or so ago, I talked with Ted Danson, and he told me that in the future with Cheers, probably there is going to be a rival woman.
Yes, he was right.
Now, how is Diane going to cope with a rival for his affections?
Well, I think she copes very well. It's a trilogy. It's a 3-part story, seen over 3 weeks. I'm sorry about that, Cheers fans. It's a bit painful to hold out, and I'm afraid it's not resolved at the end of the season. The producers are so bad. You know, they love these cliffhangers. I don't write the show. I just perform it. And that's true, by the way. It's tough. I will admit that it was some of the toughest situations I had to work with the exception of when Diane went bonkers and had to go to the institution. But it's hard dealing with the other woman, especially when Diane doesn't even want to admit that she's in love with this guy. So she has to come to some realization. There are some very dramatic moments in these 3 shows, and there are some very funny moments. So I'll let the audience decide, but I think Diane does okay.
Who is the other woman?
An actress named Kate Mulgrew, who was Mrs. Columbo a few years ago. Very talented lady.
Yes.
Liked her.
Well, we'll be looking forward to that.
Okay.
I'm wondering, you are so good at light comedy, but I'm wondering deep down inside Shelley Long, is there a longing to do Sophie's Choice or Out of Africa or something, really meaty?
Well, when I began my career as an actress, or as I began, even as a child, a young girl, I loved the works of Tennessee Williams. They had great soul and depth and yearning and drama for a woman. And then I reached a point somewhere along the line where I thought, what is all this suffering? I'm tired of all this suffering. And I can do great drama. I have done great drama, and I feel good about that. But I feel best about offering a positive outlook on life and something hopeful and honest and positive. And comedies do that for me more often than dramas. Now, I feel that there's always room for some humorous moments in a drama and always room for some dramatic moments in a comedy, as there are in The Money Pit. And that's what our life is about. It's never one or the other. It's always a mixture, and that's the way it's supposed to be, I think. So those are the projects I enjoy most. In Irreconcilable Differences, there were some very dramatic moments. And I tell you, from having done the straight dramas in plays, those dramatic moments in a comedy are no less dramatic than they would be in a straight drama or a straight tragedy. They take as much work to get to. And in some ways, maybe more, because you have to make the transition from the comedy into the really dramatic moment. If I never do a heavy drama again in my life, that'll be fine. And if I find one that really touches me deeply and that feels right to do, I'll do it, because I feel like I have that. I've worked very hard on my craft, and it is that, and I have that range, so it's nice to have that choice.
Shelley, you are just delightful to talk with.
Thank you.
I could just sit here the rest of the afternoon.
Well, that would be nice.
No.
Waiter.
Yes. It's great to see you, and congratulations on The Money Pit. I enjoyed it tremendously.
Oh, great. Thank you. Good to see you again.
Great to see you, Shelley. What a great interview. You're wonderful.
Oh,
You're
thanks.
really good.
I like doing this.
We're going to put a sign on the plan that says Shelley, little stick figure.
That'd be good.
Mr. Cutaway.
Are you rolling?
Rolling and speed.
Shelley, exactly how many weeks after the baby, Juliana, your daughter, did you start this movie? Was it harder than you thought? As an actress, did you ever feel overwhelmed by all these effects? Can we wait for the dingy-dongy?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's the one gone.
Very good.
And rolling with speed.
Shelley, a couple of weeks ago I talked with Ted Danson, and he says there is going to be a rival for Sam's affections in Cheers. Now, how is Diane going to react to that? You are so good at light comedy, but deep down inside, Shelley Long, is there this urge and this longing to do a Sophie's Choice or an Out of Africa? And now let me just give you reaction.
They tell me Meryl Streep wants to do comedy now. Everybody's getting into the act.
Very good. Thank you all.
Thank you.